Do I have a capability to share my screen?
Yes, you should be able to. Let me just kick off really quick. So thanks everyone for joining the Dubai Architect user group. This is our July session. Alex from Panaya will be talking about the path to smart Salesforce architecture. We're planning on having more events. We'll have another one probably towards the end of August. We have a very active WhatsApp group in UAE. If you're not part of the WhatsApp group and want to get added, please drop a message in the chat with your phone number and I'll add you into the WhatsApp group. So that's it for logistics. Alex, I'll hand it over to you to talk about the path to smart Salesforce architecture.
Absolutely.
So I'll stop sharing my screen. You should be able to, I think you should be able to share.
Yeah, I'm now able to share. Okay, one quick second. Okay. Guys, let me know if you see my screen.
Not yet.
You can't access a screen, check your system.
Oh. Alex, I just I changed you to presenter mode. I think that was the wrong thing. Can you unmute and put your video back on?
Yeah.
Okay. Here, let me try to set you as host. I think then you'll be able to share your screen.
Okay.
I think you should be able to do it now.
Okay, one quick second. Okay. Okay. Let me do it. Share screen. Share. Do you see my screen?
Not yet.
No.
Interesting. Okay, let me check it again. I'll stop sharing. Does this? 1 second. Okay. Very weird. Let me try to see. Maybe it's right now. Do you see it?
No, not yet.
No.
You're sharing your screens.
Oh, there we go. Now we can see it.
What do you see, guys?
We see the path to smart Salesforce architecture.
Perfect. Great. So those are great news. I will try to, first of all, I'll start with a very small presentation, okay? And then I am not the big fan of PowerPoint, guys. So I promise you that it will be very, very short, and then we'll dive into the demos. But first, let me introduce myself. My name is Alex Lidin, and I'm living in the Salesforce ecosystem for around 8 years. Before that, I was working as the on-premises software project manager, but fall in love in 2015 with the Salesforce ecosystem. And since then, I worked as a business analyst for the big enterprise companies, learning Salesforce, implementing Salesforce, starting with the very beginning. And today, I'm a product manager at Panaya Foresight. Panaya Foresight is a Salesforce based application that you can go to the App Exchange, look for Panaya, and found us. We are providing the enterprise scale companies with the impact analysis solution, test management, automatic testing. So you always can contact me. You can look into my profile in the LinkedIn, and I will be very glad to assist with any questions. Okay. I mentioned that I'm product manager, right? And I'm sure that here we have a lot of people who are architects, developers, business analysts. But me as a product manager, I really like stories. Okay, so let me start with the story. And this is the story of Elliot. Okay, Elliot is a new CRM manager. He's actually stepped into this role, and he wants to succeed in many tasks that he have, and he's very ambitious. So he took on his back a lot of interesting challenges. So the first one, he needs to optimize the complex org that have a lot of old automations like process builders and workflows. He has a lot of code-based solutions, and he has a big team that actually working very hard to fastly respond to any cases that come to the team, and it's very hard. It takes time. He wants to simplify the org structure. Most of the cases that come to the CRM team are related to the org performance, to the technical debt problems, to the limits, to the complexity. Okay, and he wants to get started. Okay, so let's just map a little bit on challenges that Elliot has. Okay, there are many pick list values, many page layouts, very busy. The sales reps and service rep are complaining all the time that it's very hard to work on the system. On the top of that, there are many processes that need to be migrated to the new ones. This is his internal task. He knows that there is a timeline that on some day in the future, those old automations will not be supported. And even today, he knows that he cannot create new process builders and new workflows. So he has to, move to flows and migrate everything to flows. He's approaching the limits on the custom fields on some of the objects. As we all know, activity object has the limit of 100 custom fields, but he has also the case and opportunity object that the number of custom fields is approaching the limits. Technical debt, right? So he needs to clean it. And other stuff like many dynamic page layouts, he wants to know what fields can be removed, what can be done, what fields, custom settings fields are not in use, what stuff is inactive. He wants to start working, okay? How we can assist Elliot in his goal? The best practice of Salesforce is to do the following. Is first of all, to start with the planning. If we just want, to cover the problems and just to find the very fast way to just resolve the problem and that's it, we will not solve the problem. We need to plan the changes. We need to plan it correctly. We need to document them, of course. And we'll speak about documentation in details. And when we plan, when we document, we want to optimize the existing processes. We want to implement the best Salesforce practice, like having one Apex trigger per object. We want to avoid using hard code IDs for our users, because when you deactivate the users, you need to go and find all the mentioning in the code and any other places where the user is hard-coded. You would like to have as less flows per object as possible, okay, to optimize them, not to have multiple flows. And we want to migrate from process builder to flows. Maybe it's not the smart way to use the Salesforce tool to have the migration one-to-one, because you don't optimize anything with that, okay? So let's start with each stage, and then we'll also go to the quick demo of what we can do. So first of all, in terms of planning, every org that exists today requires some kind of release management, right? Even if it's small org, you may have the releases once in 3 months, once in half a year. But some orgs have the releases on the monthly basis, on the weekly basis, okay? And then you need to define the change management process, okay? You can use some of the people that I sat with, some of the customers of us came to on board when they use Excels to manage this process. This is not the amazing way, right? Or they manage the process in the emails. We all know that there is a very good, that there are very good tools on the market like Jira and Confluence and some other tools like Monday that allows us to manage the process. It's very important to pick the correct platform. Very important thing that we know is that need to evaluate the impact of the changes that you put into your releases based on the real metadata. What you see here is actually kind of graph that show you how the change in the opportunity stage can impact so many components, starting with the code-based and up to the declarative ones, including reports and layouts. So it's very important to evaluate the impact of any of the change that you plan to perform based on the metadata of your org. You need to plan your releases correctly, because if you want to clean the technical debt, you cannot clean the technical debt with one release. You need to split it into the number of releases, and you need to allocate time for the technical debt, for the request of your sales team, for the migration to enhanced domains. Guys, it's 3 months from now. You need to be prepared for that, okay? And there are systems that can assist you with this task, okay? Testing. I know even big companies that avoid using testing and just wait to run it on some users in production and hear who will scream. This is not a good practice, okay? You need to test it, and it's better to test it first, of course, on the staging and integration sandboxes to have the proper pipeline, and then to have the UAT testing with a group of power users in the UAT full sandbox. This is the best practice for Salesforce. Very important. And of course, you need to monitor the changes. You expose the changes, even in the production, to the limited number of users. You show to the limited number of profiles. You give them the chance to test the changes. You collect the feedbacks, and you improve your releases, okay? Documentations. Now, if we talk about documentations, I'm asking myself even today why documentation is so important. And I'll give the very simple answer. Maybe it's kind of even too simple, but I think it resonates to me. Documentation, keeping the good documentation of your org, first of all, is good for your karma, okay? Why I'm saying you that? Because it's kind of sending the time capsule to the future yourself, explaining what you have done 2 years ago, or sending actually the present, the gift, to your future admins, to your future team. And we know today as never before how frequently these team members are changing, right? So you need to prepare the background. I never faced the situation when I take the responsibility of New York and there is a detailed documentation that was left by previous owner. Okay, all of us faced it, right? So this is very important. It saves a lot of your valuable time, right? Because when you brainstorm the process, the next process that you want to implement, you will reuse the solutions. You will use your previous smart formula, your validation rules or flow solutions. You optimize the existing solutions for the new capabilities of Salesforce. When you migrate to flows or use dynamic forms. When you onboard new team member or onboard your super users, you will use this documentation. You will use the documentation to monitor the technical debt. When you have documentation in place of all your metadata components, of all your developments, you will resolve your support tickets in your CRM team very fast, right? And I think this is very, very important. So what actually I can suggest to cover this kind of documentation? First of all, use your meta dictionary. Create your meta dictionary. We'll talk how you can do it. Document your UI processes. Record your UI processes. Record your screen flows, dynamic forms with the explanations. If you are working with the Salesforce industries, the flex card that enables the flow of user clicks to complete the process, record each and every step. Of course, Lightning Web Components, of course, web forms on the community pages. This is very important. Today we have we are living in the era of generative AI, okay? And I suggest to use the power of generative AI to understand how our Apex code is created, especially when we come to the org, which is a black hole for us, following mergers, acquisition, replacing system integrator, right? Or replacing previous team. So we need to understand what was there. Again, I am reminding you guys that I never faced the situation that there was documentation in place when I came to the New York. you would like to document it today, generative AI solutions allow you to understand how your org is composed, how it is built, and allows you to create the amazing documentation in the format which I called human readable, right? So actually, you don't need the developer to understand what is behind the code of your Apex class, Lightning Web Component, flow, validation rule, etc. Optimize. I'm speaking here about the technical debt, which is very, very broad notion, right? First of all, of course, it's not one-time effort. It's continuous effort, should be the part of your releases. On the top of that, I think that's very important to understand what is the technical debt, okay? You need to have a list of all your components which are inactive. This is the pure technical debt. Everybody knows it, okay? You want to have a list of all automations in one place. So you will understand if you have the opportunity object and you have 3 Apex triggers there, 7 workflows, 50 process builders, and 1 flow, and all those workflows and process builders you need to migrate, but they also update some stage on the opportunity on the different conditions, you would like to unite it into one flow, right? And you want to have it very clearly in your org without deep investigation. You would like to understand which are those unassigned profiles and permission set that were once created. What are those unused fields on the web page layouts that were created for demos, were created for the old integrations, were created for some third-party components that you tested and you don't use it. It adds to your technical debt. If you have many automations on the same object, if you have very complex formula fields, you know that the formula fields today is something that actually can go and have the Salesforce limits, right? So this is something that I would suggest for you guys just to look into, and you have tools today to understand exactly if you have complex formula fields in your org. I would like to speak about the tools that you can use. And here, by the way, all this presentation I will send to Georgi, right? And you can share with the team. So you all stuff here are links, okay? So you can just receive this presentation. So you see here that you can document and optimize, create these Salesforce workbooks with the Salesforce DevTools Chrome extension. I use it. It's a very nice tool. You can use the schema lister, which is also a very cool tool that you can export to Excel. You can have your diagramming solution that will allow you to create the diagrams based on the Lucid chart. You can create the free account. You have here the link to the Trailhead module that will describe it. And also you have the very nice tools on the Salesforce Lab, right? You have the org check, very cool tool on the Salesforce Lab. You have the user access and permission assistant of Salesforce that allows you to map all the user profiles, all the org profiles, and move and permission set, and also perform the migration. Quite a nice tool, okay? And of course, you have additional tools, and you have the tool that I will show today a little bit. That's called Panaya Foresight. That allows to do all those things. That allows to understand different levels of technical debt. It allows you to list all the automations. It covers additional clouds, not just core, but it also covers Salesforce CPQ. It covers Salesforce Industries, the only tool in the market today. And of course, perform the smart testing and change notifications. But today, I would like to really concentrate on 2 things in my demo. The first one is the technical debt, and another one is documentation. But before I dive into the demo, let me do a quick stop and ask guys if you have any questions for me so far. Okay, let me look into the chat. Okay. I think that if you don't have any questions, I will also give, okay, you can ask me any questions in the middle of the session, okay? So right now, I will just stop the show. Okay, and let me just quickly try to see how I would do you see my screen, Georgi?
Not yet. Just give it a minute. It takes. It's coming up. Yeah, we can see the Panaya web browser.
Okay, perfect. So let me quickly start with some stuff that you can get after you use some of the paid tools. One of these tools is Panaya, and I'm the product manager of this tool. So as you may see here on this screen, in the org overview of the org, you do see the very important things like org complexity. All those dashboard actually allows you to understand what org you're stepping in, right? You see the complexity of the org comparing to the market state. You see the list of all the components type, regular ones that comes or customized by yourself or customized by your team, but also the components that came with the managed package, right? You do see how many stuff you have here is code and declarative. You do see all those old automations. You do see the number of the fields per object in the terms of the technical, there's fields on the page layout that actually you see that there are 5 page layouts that have huge number of fields, okay? So this is the time to understand the technical depth. This is the time to remove and to optimize those page layouts, okay? And over here, we do see the quick links to see the number of unassigned custom profiles and permission set. But here, I would like to concentrate on this potential technical depth requirements. So if I click here, you may see the list of all the fields that are not on the page layout, not on the major components, and you can start working on your releases by mapping those fields. You can actually save it. You can go ahead and export it into Excel, okay? And then to have all this list as the part of next, your next project to say, okay, this is the list of the fields. Let's start and understand how I can start investigating them and remove it, but you have them all in one view. You can create very easily, and all of these things you can do with Panaya reporting system that allows you to generate with those sneaky filters for each and every object, the list of the components, the list of the fields. Here, for example, I created the list of the fields that exist for the account object, the list of the custom fields. For each and every field, we see how this field is referenced in other components, okay, or on what components it is included, like in page layouts, reports, or flows, right? So you can create this list. You can see when it was last modified in sandbox, in production. This is what Panaya Foresight allows you to see. You can see the list of the reports that are not in use in your org, which are rarely used or unused at all. All of this is technical debt, right? And of course, on the top of that, you can go ahead and create as many as you wish lists with the relevant logic. So for example, here, I created the lists of all the components that are used in your packages. You see how many packages you have here. So I have a customer that wanted to replace his document generation application. But then he saw how many this generation application is referenced in other components that were created by the previous SI. So he said, now I understand what is the investment, how hard it will be for me to make the switch, what I need to do to map and to understand the meaning of the switch, okay? And of course, let's go to one of my favorite places here is the list of the formula fields. You can set here the formula fields with the huge number of impacting components. What is actually impacting of referencing components? We do see here the list of the formula fields with at least 2 references, okay? So let's take, for example, this field. This is the case response status custom field that was created long time ago. Maybe we can remove it. Let's see what is the meaning of this field, okay? So what I would like to do, I would like to go ahead, select this field, and click here on this scope and analyze. Scope and analyze will actually initiate the Panaya engine that will show you, first of all, the graphical representation of this field. So we do see that this is the field. It is a custom field that exists on the case. Let me just quickly also, I want to see where it is included, right? So you do see that it is included on the reports, free reports. It's included on the 5-page layouts, okay? It exists in 70 report types, right? You do see that this field referencing all those fields references all these peak list values, right? But I would like to understand a little bit better the impact of this field. So I'll go here and click here. By the way, I can view in Salesforce, open this field in Salesforce, and it will directly redirect this field into Salesforce. You may see here the source code of this field, and I haven't entered into Salesforce yet, but this is the most interesting thing. Do remember that we spoke about the generative AI support. So what you are seeing here, you actually see the generative AI explanation of this formula field. And that means that I can easily understand what this formula field is doing. So and its explanation is not in the way of the source code. The explanation is in the human readable explanation. You can do the same thing for the Apex trigger, for the Apex class, for the validation rule. In the next version, we are going to provide also the support of the LWC component and flows, okay? And what is amazing here that you can just copy it, you can paste it into your description, you can paste it in your Confluence high-level design document. Very easy. And of course, you can do a lot of stuff here. You can say, okay, I would like to see any components. I can I would like to see the specific impact. You can have a lot of options here. I just want to see the specific components. I can go here from the graph view to the list view and to see all the components here and to understand its meaning. I can save it as a new analysis or the new feature requirements. So actually I can manage my changes, manage my releases. We do have also integration, seamless integration to Jira that can take the components that I combine here and put them into the Jira story. Very easy. So this is about the technical debt removal, impact analysis, change management, assessment of your components. Okay? The next thing that I would like to show you is the capability, not just documenting the metadata components, which are validation rules, formula fields, or Apex classes. I would like to show how you can possibly document the UI process. Let's imagine that you are creating some lightning components and put it on your lightning page, or you are doing you have the sales process of the opportunity approval or case creation that is done with some kind of form that you use on the lightning page, or using FlexCard to streamline the process of bundle selection, right? Or you work in the CPQ and you want to explain to user how to perform some kind of bundle selection for your specific account. You can do it very easily by performing any clicks, and you can record it with Panaya Recorder, okay? When you record it with the Panaya Recorder, at the end, you will get this list of your documentation, what we are calling also the test evidence, okay? And if we just take one of those guys, and I'll show you how the test evidence that was recorded look like, you will actually see that this test evidence automatically not just record the screens, but it also record, as you may see, this legend where things were clicked, what was done in each and every step. So imagine that you can take this, you can link it to any of your high-level design document, right? Or you can just go ahead and say, it's very nice, but I prefer to work with Excel or the PDF. No problem at all. You can export this to PDF or to Word, and then you can have it as the part of your documentation. We are going to release very soon additional capability that will allow to make the automatic recording without any human intervention, because this one was created by the person, and then you can also play all these steps automatically. This is the automatic testing module, the new one that we are planning to release, and let's just imagine what you can do with it. One of the main use cases is those post-install, post-refresh clicks that you need to do once in a while when you refresh your sandbox. You can record all the steps that you want to record and then play it automatically without actually relying on the human, to do the specific steps that were actually defined by the CRM admin, okay? So you can actually record what needs to be done after refresh and then to play it, and that's it. You can even schedule it. And this is something that we are really hearing a lot of excitement from the field about this ability. I can speak about the documentation and the planning and the change management capabilities for a lot of time, but I think we are very close to the end of this session today. So let me just quickly stop and ask you if you have any questions for me so far.
Alex, I have a question. What do you see your customers are doing that don't have this tool yet, or are looking to get this tool? How are they, for example, with identifying the metadata dependencies? How are they doing it today? Is it really a lot of manual work, or do you see customers building their own tools or looking at free alternatives?
I'll explain what they're doing. First of all, some of them are using the thing that is called where the field is used. All of us know the limitations, right? So for example, when the where the field is used, you cannot, you don't have any capability to know that if you have the pick list value on the standard field, for example, opportunity stage, okay, status, where the field is used doesn't cover it at all. This is first thing. Where the field is used doesn't cover anything on Salesforce industries. Nothing. Okay? Where the field is used covers only direct reference. But for example, if you have the opportunity stage and it is referenced in the formula field that's called sales code and it's referenced in the flow, you don't see these indirect references. So our tool provides it. So what the people do, they use the where the field is used and they don't know what happens. They use the free tools, those free tools that, you have them based on the best practice support. Sometimes they work, sometimes they don't work. They have developers in their teams that do only one thing. They do deep dive into SFDX code to understand the dependencies. But why today teams need to invest in these costly development teams to investigate the dependencies? So this is the thing. And in most cases, people just rely that, if you ask me, then this is very funny. People rely that we'll make the change, somebody will scream, and then we'll fix it. I heard this again, right? It's not my imagination.
Yeah, what I've tried doing in the past is just deleting the field and then seeing what
Yeah.
errors I get.
Who will scream? Who will scream?
Dependencies.
Yeah. Sometimes the problem is that the people who are screaming are, VP sales, and then it's not nice.
Thank you. So there's a question in the chat. What is the license cost of this, and how can we install the trial version of it?
Oh, this is great question, Trilok, right? Very nice to meet you. So this is very simple. You can go here. Just, you can go to the App Exchange. And in the Salesforce App Exchange, just, look for, here it is, right? Go to the App Exchange, look for Panaya. Okay, this is Panaya Foresight, Impact Analysis. You have the trial of 14 days. Okay, and that's it. I just put it here in the chat, the link. Okay, and after the license cost is something. First of all, I think the most important thing is that you see the value. Okay, we do have their system is very modular. So some of the people like to use just impact analysis. Some of them use what is called on the top of that automation overview or change watch. Actually, the capability to update the CRM team manager what things were changed each day in our org. This is additional capability, support of CPQ. So the license is very, the license cost depends on what you need, okay? But again, I think the best way is to try it, speak with us, and I am sure that you'll get, if you like our product, you will be able to purchase it and it will not cost too much, okay? I hope it answers your question. And again, I'm just not the salesperson to tell you exactly the numbers. So please bear with me. But I suggest I can assist you with the trial, try the product, and I'll assist you here. Okay? Thank you, Tarek. Thank you for your question. Guys, do you have any additional questions for me?
Could you go back to your slide with the free tools? So for those that aren't able to use Panaya, what are the alternatives that they could look at?
Absolutely. Give me just quickly. One second. Just want to. It always happens when. Okay, 1 second. Okay. Okay. Share screen, entire screen. Okay. Do you see my screen, guys?
Yeah, we can see.
Yeah, so those are the free tools. I really like this one. This is very cool Chrome extension, Salesforce DevTools. There is a link here. I will share with you, then you can find it. Those are nice, also nice tools from the Salesforce Lab. I really like it. And I'm a big fan of Lucid Chart, so I like it than any other tools. You have also Draw.io, but the Lucid Chart, they have also the capability to import Salesforce diagrams. So it's really cool.
Cool. Thanks for that. Yeah, and I'll post the slides and all of the links on the event page after the event, so you'll be able to download all of this and get the links.
Absolutely.
There's also...
Please.
No, please go ahead.
And you can also, again, you have you can just check what we can do for you for 2 weeks free of charge. No problem with that. See if you see the value. Because again, I think this is very important just to understand what actually you miss when you don't do it correctly. When you do this, execute this approach of let's delete and then see who screams.
Cool. And there is another good question from Trilok about can we use this for org consolidation if we need to consolidate more than one org?
Yes, absolutely. So first of all, I just want to show you. And again, I really more the person of showing things. So what you can see here, Panaya allows you, this is what we call the projects, okay? So for each of the project, we can actually, all this project actually combines two orgs. It can be any org, by the way. It can be sandbox and production. It can be two different orgs, two sandboxes in the different, by the different orgs, so you can compare and you can run impact analysis on them, okay? But again, this is the most important thing here. We are the tool that allows you to manage things, okay? And yes, you can just take any kind of this. See here, for example, I have the CPQ org, you have the finance cloud org, you have the communication cloud SFI org, and each of the systems here is actually the couple of two orgs, okay? For each of them, you can define users. Each of them, you can perform the impact analysis. Each of them, you can understand what's going on, what you want to migrate, what you don't want to migrate. So indeed, we do have the customers today that use our tool for the org consolidation in terms of mergers and acquisitions. Okay, you define the target org, you define the source org, and you decide what you want to merge. Okay, so the answer is positive, Triok. Very happy that you asked this question.
I have one more question. So we talked a lot about metadata. Do you do anything around data, or it's really focused around metadata?
It's focused around metadata, but this is good that you asked me because there are some specific stuff in our world in the Salesforce ecosystem that is actually the data, but it behaves like metadata. For example, CPQ, right? All those product rules, price conditions. So all this is data, but it's actually metadata. It's the data that like masked as that actually behind the scenes it's a metadata. So in this case, we do support that data as well.
Cool. Thank you. Any other questions from anyone in the room? I guess that's it. I don't see any other questions coming in. So thanks so much, Alex, for the presentation and the demo. Very interesting stuff. So I'll post the slides and all of the links to the tools, and then the link to the free trial. And also feel free to reach out to Alex on LinkedIn or any other channels. I'm sure he'll be more than happy to answer your questions.
Absolutely. And thank you for this amazing opportunity, for the very good questions, and for your patience, with all this setup. Have a great day.
Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Thank you, Alex.
Bye-bye.
Cheers. Bye, everyone.
Cheers. Bye.